Hello, you're watching Hornbill TV's top stories of the week. And in what could be called the most important news of the week that came today, the Election Commission of India announced on Saturday that Lok Sabha elections will be held in 7 phases. Counting for all elections, including by-elections, assembly elections and general elections, is slated for June 4th. The current government's term is ending on June 16th. The previous Lok Sabha election schedule was announced on March 10th by the ECI and polling was conducted in 7 phases across the country. Starting from April 11th, the counting of the votes was done on May 23rd. According to CEC Rajiv Kumar, there are 96.8 crore people and they are eligible to cast a vote in the upcoming polls at over 12 lakh polling stations. According to CEC Rajiv Kumar, in Phase 1, polling will take place on April 19, 2024. Phase 2 polling will take place on 26th April 2024. Phase 3 polling will take place on 7th May 2024. Phase 4 polling will take place on 13th May. Phase 5 polls on 20th May. Phase 6 polls will take place on 25th May 2024 and Phase 7 will go to polls on 1st June 2024. The counting for all bipolar assembly constituencies, state assembly elections and Lok Sabha elections will take place on June 4th. In terms of Nagaland, Gazette notification will be out on 20th March with the last date of withdrawal on 30th of March. And for Nagaland's lone Lok Sabha seat, the state will go to polls on April 19th. ECI also announced the assembly poll dates for Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh assembly elections will be held on 29 April. Andhra Pradesh assembly elections will take place on 13th May, while Odisha will vote in 3 phases on the dates 13th, 20th and 25th May. The stage is set and now the poll battle begins. And in a big announcement, the Modi government announced this week of the implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act. It was an integral part of BJP's 2019 manifesto. Ahead of the Lok Sabha election, the centre on Monday announced the implementation of the contentious Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 for granting citizenship to undocumented non-Muslim migrants from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan who came to India before December 31st, 2014. With the CAA rules being issued, the Modi government will now start granting Indian nationality to persecuted non-Muslim migrants, Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, Parsis and Christians from the 3 countries. The CAA was passed in December 2019 and subsequently got the president's assent, but there were protests in several parts of the country against it. The law could not come into effect as rules had not been notified till now. These rules, called the Citizenship Amendment Rules 2024, will enable the persons eligible under CAA 2019 to apply for the grant of Indian citizenship, a Home Ministry spokesperson said. The applications will be submitted in a completely online mode for which a web portal has been provided, the spokesperson added. According to the manual on parliamentary work, the rules for any legislation should be framed within 6 months of presidential assent, or the government has to seek an extension from the Committee on Subordinate Legislation in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Since 2020, the Home Ministry has been taking extensions at regular intervals from the Parliamentary Committee for framing the rules. No documents will be sought from the applicants, an official said. Over 100 people lost their lives during the anti-CAA protest or police action. As the centre announced the implementation of the contentious Citizenship Act, agitations and protests have erupted again in Assam. The All Assam Students Union and 30 ethnic groups staged a 12-hour hunger strike this week across the state against the Citizenship Amendment Act. The 12-hour hunger strike was held from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the banks of Digali Pukri in Guwahati city along with the entire state. The union demanded the scrapping of the CAA 2019 and slammed the BJP government. Speaking to the media, the All Assam Students Union President Utpal Sharma said government has been trying to impose the burden of illegal foreigners by adopting CAA rules. The government has been warned that the people of the Northeast will not accept what they did not accept. Following with the protests again later in the week, the All Assam Students Union and 30 ethnic groups organized a satyagraha across the state to protest against the implementation of the contentious Citizenship Amendment Act. They chanted slogans like "We are not accepting CAA," etc. "We will not obey the CAA imposed by the BJP government," said Tutumani Kalita, Central Education Secretary, AASU. Democratic protests will continue until the CAA is cancelled. Democratic protests will continue alongside the legal battle, he said. Earlier, the AASU held a bike rally on March 7th to raise awareness about CAA. On the day of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival in Assam on March 8th, lanterns were lit at the portraits of the 5 martyrs of the anti-CAA movement, and the martyrs were commemorated. It was a busy week for the Supreme Court of India this week, as now the Supreme Court agreed to hear on March 19 pleas to stay the operation of the controversial Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 and its rules notified on March 11th, which fast-tracked the grant of Indian citizenship to non-Muslim migrants from Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. The act was enacted in 2019. They waited for 4.5 years and notified the rules just days ahead of the elections. Once the process of grant of citizenship starts, under this act, it cannot be reversed. Please hear our applications for stay. Senior advocate Kapil Sibal urged a 3-judge bench headed by Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud in an oral mentioning of the case on March 15th. Mr. Sibal represented the Indian Union Muslim League, IUML, a political party also represented by advocate Haris Biran. The League is the primary petitioner in the lead case, which has 237 separate petitions challenging the legality of the CAA on the ground that it discriminates in granting citizenship on the basis of religion. The Democratic Youth Federation of India, represented by advocate Subhash Chandran KR, has also filed an application seeking an interim stay on the implementation of the law. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, appearing for the Union government, said listing the case early on March 19th was absolutely the prerogative of the court. More news from the Supreme Court. In some setback to the SBI this week, the Supreme Court dismissed an application of State Bank of India seeking an extension of time till June 30th to submit details of electoral bonds to the Election Commission of India. The court has asked the SBI to disclose the details of electoral bonds by the close of business hours on March 12th. The apex court also warned SBI that it will initiate contempt proceedings against it if the information on the electoral bonds is not furnished by tomorrow, and further ordered the Election Commission that all the data shared by SBI should be available on the official portal by March 15. The 5-judge bench, comprising Justices Sanjeev Khanna, B.R. Gavai, J.B. Pardiwala and Manoj Misra, addressed the contempt plea filed by the Association for Democratic Reforms against the State Bank of India. This plea accused the SBI willfully disobeying the Supreme Court's order to disclose details of encashed electoral bonds to the Election Commission by March 6th. Following up on the same matter this week, and in lieu of the order by the Honorable Supreme Court, the Election Commission of India on Thursday uploaded the data on the purchase and encashment of electoral bonds by corporates and individuals and political parties respectively on its website. It may be recalled that in the said matter, ECI has consistently and categorically weighed in favor of disclosure and transparency, a position reflected in the proceedings of the Honorable Supreme Court and noted in the order also. The ECI said in a statement on Thursday evening while releasing the data. According to the data issued by the ECI on the electoral bond scheme, among the known corporates, Anil Agarwal's Vedanta Limited bought Rs 398 crore worth of bonds, while Sunil Mittal's 3 companies together purchased a total of Rs 246 crore worth of bonds. Steel magnate Lakshmi Nivas Mittal bought Rs 35 crore worth of bonds in his individual capacity. Hyderabad-based Mega Engineering, which has bagged contracts of several large infrastructure projects, bought bonds worth Rs 966 crore. The Future Gaming and Hotel Services PR Group was the highest donor by donating Rs 1,368 crore in electoral bonds to political parties between April 12, 2019 and January 24, 2024. Founded in 1991, Future Gaming and Hotel Services was earlier known as Martin Lottery Agencies Limited. It is owned by Santiago Martin, known as the Lottery King of India. But then, the Supreme Court came down heavily on the State Bank of India for not sharing the complete data on electoral bonds, a scheme that allowed individuals and businesses to donate anonymously to political parties. The 5-judge bench, headed by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, directed SBI to disclose electoral bond numbers as well, in addition to the details it has already shared. Who is appearing for the State Bank of India? They have not disclosed the bond numbers. It has to be disclosed by the State Bank of India, Chief Justice Chandrachud said right at the outset of the hearing. In its notice to SBI, the Supreme Court bench has asked the bank to explain the lapse during the next hearing on March 18th. The electoral bond numbers would help establish the link between donors and political parties. In continuation of the ENPO to protest against the centre's attitude and delay to the formation of the Frontier Naga territory, as agreed by the centre, normal life continues to be affected in 6 districts of eastern Nagaland. On Monday, March 11, 2024, due to an indefinite shutdown called by ENPO to press for his demand for a separate state, officials said shops and commercial establishments remained closed and most vehicles were off the roads as the Eastern Nagaland People's Organization, the apex body of 7 Naga tribes in the region, called for the shutdown to press for its demand. Power department, medical, fire and other emergency services besides media and weddings were however exempted from the purview of the Bandh. The NPO demands that a separate Frontier Naga territory state be carved out of the 6 districts of Mon, Tuensang, Longleng, Kifri, Noklak and Chamator. The decision to call for the shutdown was taken at the NPO's headquarters in Tuensang district. The organizations have warned that the people of Eastern Nagaland will not be responsible for any untoward situation. They also asserted that the Eastern Nagaland People's Organization will not accept any assurance from the Ministry of Home Affairs that is to be implemented after the upcoming parliamentary election process. On March 13th, effigies of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Union Home Minister Amit Shah and National BJP President JP Nadda were burned in Tuensang, an act considered unproductive and regrettable. The BJP Nagaland State Unit has appealed to the ENPO for patience and understanding, emphasizing the importance of constructive dialogues for resolution. The NPO insisted that the centre should fulfill the people's aspirations as promised by Union Home Minister Amit Shah by resolving their concerns before the 2024 parliamentary elections. As the centre had formed a special committee headed by ex-President of India Ramnath Kovind to examine the feasibility of holding one nation, one election, the high-level committee led by former President Ramnath Kovind on Thursday unanimously backed simultaneous polls for the Lok Sabha, state assemblies and local bodies, state and local tiers and called for a raft of constitutional amendments to achieve the goal, potentially setting the stage for the far-reaching but controversial reform that can reshape the world's largest democracy. Another debate has been ignited. Senior advocate Gopal Sankar Narayan said if the one nation, one election has to be implemented as suggested in the report, an article to bring about the change has to be inserted, and for that, an amendment of the constitution with 2/3 majority plus also half the states giving their consent will be required. It will be a fairly long process. Sankara Narayan said the committee had looked at it in a simplistic, straightforward manner, looking at only tenures. But they should also look at all the various provisions of the constitution, including emergency powers, president's rule, etc., which will need to be altered and changed. Until that comprehension exercise is made, it may be short-sighted. He further said, on a practical plane, it makes no sense at all and completely unnecessary. The Supreme Court on Wednesday agreed to list for hearing on March 15 pleas challenging the Chief Election Commissioner and Other Election Commissioner Act 2023, which dropped the Chief Justice of India from the selection panel of election commissioners. A bench of Justices Sanjeev Khanna, M.M. Sundaresh and Bella M. Trivedi said the matter will be listed for hearing on Friday after Advocate Prashant Bhushan, appearing for the NGO Association for Democratic Reform, sought an urgent hearing. The bench said that it had received a message from CJI Diva Chandrachud and would list the plea for hearing this Friday. Earlier, the Apex Court had refused to stay the operation of the Election Commission Act 2023, issued notice to the centre and sought a response in April. The pleas challenged the new Election Commissioner law that has dropped the Chief Justice of India from the selection panel for appointing Chief Election Commissioners and other election commissioners. The petition stated that the provisions of the enactment are violative of the principle of free and fair elections, since they do not provide an independent mechanism for the appointment of members of the Election Commission of India. The petition said the Act excludes the Chief Justice of India from the process of appointment of the members of the ECI, and it's in violation of the March 2023 verdict of the top court, which had ordered that the appointment of members of the ECI be done on the advice of a committee comprising the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice of India and the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha until a law is made by the Parliament. As it heard the matter later in the week, the Supreme Court has declined to stay the appointments of new election commissioners under the 2023 law, which excludes the Chief Justice of India from the selection panel. The bench comprises Justices Sanjeev Khanna, Dipankar Datta and Augustine George Massey refused to stay the appointments, stating, "Normally and generally, we do not stay a law by way of an interim order." The court deferred the hearing on pleas challenging the appointments of two ECs till March 21st. In continuation of the protests against the centre in demanding the legality of the minimum support price, farmers this week squatted on railway tracks at many places in Punjab as part of a rail roko protest called by the Samyukta Kisan Morcha, non-political, and the Kisan Mazdoor Morcha to press the centre to accept their demands, including a legal guarantee of minimum support price. Farmers raised slogans against the centre for not accepting their demands. In Punjab, farmers had announced that they would sit on railway tracks at 52 locations in 22 districts, including Amritsar, Ludhiana, Taran, Hoshiarpur, Firozpur, Fazilka, Sangrur, Mansa, Muga and Bhatinda. Farmer leader Sarwan Singh Pandher asked people to join the protest in large numbers. Bharat Kisan Union, Ekta Ugran, BKU, the Konda Dhaner and Krantikari Kisan Union, farmer bodies which are part of the Samyukta Kisan Morcha, also participated in the rail roko agitation. The protesting farmers from Punjab have been camping at the Shambu and Kanori border points since February 13, when security forces stopped them from marching towards Delhi. The farmer leaders have rejected the centre's proposal for procurement of pulses, maize and cotton at the MSP by government agency for 5 years, saying it was not in farmers' favour. And those were all the top stories of this week. See you next time. Goodbye.